Please welcome Brianna Carvajal.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brianna Carvajal. I am a proud Bruin, Carbon Neutrality Initiative Ambassador, member of the Mayors of Los Angeles Youth Council for the Climate Action, first ever one. And my journey as a warrior against climate change began in my junior year of Gertz Resler High School. Being a South Central native, I attended the educational institution from 6th to 12th grade. It is located in the Pico Union District, where 98% of the school's population is Latinx. Feeling the sun's brutally harsh rays against my skin every day was the norm. And some days it was hard to breathe due to the heavy traffic pollution created by the 110 freeway directly above campus. It was only when I came to UCLA that I learned the formal term for what I was a victim of: environmental racism. Throughout my high school experience, climate and sustainability were never integrated in our curricula. AP Environmental Science was the only related class. However, even that class was not made a requirement. As a result, I wouldn't be where I am today without my AP Bio teacher, whose personal interest in the planet provided me the opportunity to establish a community garden on school grounds. Having the opportunity to finally connect with nature after being raised in a concrete jungle made me want to learn more about the environment, and that experience led me to Earthwatch. Through that program, I spent 2 weeks in Maine conducting research on ocean acidification, where I witnessed firsthand the level of irreversible damage that we had caused. This coming decade needs to be filled with some of the most significant policy changes in human history just to scratch the surface on making reparations. This October, I had the privilege of being a youth delegate at the C40 conference in Copenhagen, where I was able to collaborate with activists all around the globe in discussing how we can change the world together and secure a brighter future for generations to come. They inspired me to want to do more, push the limits of what we think is possible, and never take no for an answer. Upon returning home, I continued to work with peers across LA County to ensure I do my part in creating a future that is inclusive, equal, and diverse, so that we do not rebuild on the same broken foundations of racism, colonialism, and sexism that the global North was originally founded upon. This experience taught me that in order to change policy and people's mindsets permanently, it starts with proper education. As I look upon the leaders of today sitting before me, I urge you to take on the responsibility to do everything in your power, and then some, to make certain the worst-case scenarios for the planet never come to pass. Ignorance is the greatest threat to humanity, and we are officially out of time. Thank you. It is now my honor to introduce our afternoon keynote speaker, and a woman I look up to immensely. She is instrumental to our mayor's progressive policy agenda for sustainability in LA and across the globe through C40. Please give a warm welcome to LA's Chief Sustainability Officer, Lauren Faber O'Connor. She is the author of LA's New Green Deal, which is LA's blueprint to reaching carbon neutrality. She is also a champion for equity, environmental justice, and education.
Can we all give Brianna another round of applause? I have to say, I am so proud of you, Brianna, and I take my inspiration from you. It is one of our greatest honors that she is a member of the Mayor's Youth Council for Climate Action. That is something that the mayor just constituted a few months ago, and she is a member alongside 15 other of her peers across Los Angeles, ages 15 to 21 years old. And we were really, really excited that she was able to join the mayor and myself and others, as well as one of her peers in the Youth Council, Victor, who came with us to Copenhagen. And you'll hear me talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But I really just, I'm so excited because this is one of the most important initiatives that we could be undertaking. I'm so proud of to be an Angelino, so proud to be a Californian, to have the UC and CSU system taking on an initiative like this, because something else that Brianna and I have in common is that we got inspired by environmental issues in high school. You heard Brianna's story, and it's not so dissimilar to mine. I went to high school very close to here, actually, and my biology teacher in high school, Miss Redman, she herself was very interested and involved in environmental issues and both inside and outside of her academic career. And not only as she was teaching us science and teaching us about Earth systems, was I completely awestruck by this Goldilocks planet on which we live, but also awestruck by the interconnectedness, the magic, the mystery of our world. And then to learn, which is what she made sure that we did, to learn the impact that we are having on this magical mystery Goldilocks system was completely, it struck me so deeply and completely changed my worldview, changed what I thought I wanted to be, changed how I looked at my city, my family, everything I did. And the thing about that is it certainly set off my career, but it was just happenstance. And it was happenstance for Brianna as well. And what we're doing here is figuring out a way to make sure that those types of stories, those types of opportunities aren't happenstance, that we make sure that everyone has the opportunity to learn and understand the world around them and their role and responsibility in that world. So when we think about what that means for us going forward, the mayor is really, and I hope that we all together are reflecting on the fact that we have 19 days left in this decade. So we're closing out a decade and looking ahead into the 2020s. So what we would like to do, and what Mayor Garcetti has set out to do, is really launch 2020, the 2020s, as the decade of action. It must be the decade of climate action. It is the most important decade, as he views it, in human history, because it is the decade in which we will confront and address the two interrelated questions of, will there be a world for us all to inhabit? And if we are successful in protecting that world, will there be a place for me, for my children, in that future world economy? What does it look like for us to achieve those two intertwined goals? And that's why the mayor, in April of this year, released LA's Green New Deal, which I hope all of you are aware of and are using it in your networks and in your institutions. But what we really see it as, and what the mayor intended for it to be, is a global model for how to uphold the Paris Climate Agreement, to which he is completely committed. And what that means is setting out a science-driven path to carbon neutrality, and doing so, developing policies, developing strategies that are ensuring that those that are most vulnerable, communities that have historically been impacted by environmental degradation, are facing the impacts of climate change at a more extreme rate, that we ensure the benefits of our policies are reaching them, that we're developing an economy that is not just thriving, but is inclusive to everyone. That is key, and that's why we sort of ground the LA's Green New Deal in what we like to call the 5 zeros, which is a zero carbon grid, zero carbon buildings, zero carbon transportation, zero waste, and zero wasted water. And the academic institutions that are here with us are absolutely integral in meeting all of those goals. In Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power is barreling toward renewable energy, a goal of 100% renewable energy. Just this past month, We solidified a contract to build the largest solar and battery energy storage project in the country and deliver 7% of the city's energy from that project alone, whether it's daytime or nighttime, and delivering it at cheaper than the cost of gas-fired electricity. So it's truly historic. Working to implement policies like ensuring that by 2030, if not sooner, there will not be a bus in Los Angeles that is powered by fossil fuels. We will have an all zero-emission bus fleet. Working to implement programs and goals that we've set, and we've set with cities around the world, that all new buildings in the city will be zero carbon by 2030, and all buildings in the city will be zero carbon by 2050. And I ask that you all come with us on those goals, those journeys, ensuring that we are approaching economic development through a circular economy so that we are eliminating waste through our economy and developing new resources, truly economic opportunities there. And that as we march toward ensuring no water is wasted in this city because we can't afford that we develop projects that benefit communities, greening projects, cooling projects that are really bringing services and amenities to communities throughout the city. And that encompasses what LA's Green New Deal is all about. So when we went to Copenhagen, we were there with C40, as Briana mentioned, which is a global organization that brings together 94 of the world's megacities to really set the bar and raise it, and then raise it, and raise it, and raise it again, which is what we have done historically, to come together and declare an approach to a global Green New Deal. And that includes everyone here. The recognition that in order to reach the scope and scale of change that we all know, we all recognize that we need to address this climate emergency, that we have to work together and solutions have to work for all of us, whether that's in government, in the education sector, in the private sector, with our friends in labor unions and the workers who are implementing solutions across our economies, across the world, and our youth, and more. And so building that coalition that you all are already a part of, and that you are building that coalition through young people that you touch every day. And what was exciting, another exciting part of that time in Copenhagen, is that Briana, as she said, was a part of a group of youth delegates, some 100-odd young people from around the world, leaders in their communities, leaders, climate strikers from around the world. I remember Briana and Victor talking to us about how they were surprised to have gone to Copenhagen and speak Spanish as much as they were speaking because of the global nature of the people that they had a chance to interact with, learn from, and talk about their experiences and their work here. And one of the things that was fun about that trip was that the city of Copenhagen and Lord Mayor Jensen, Frank Jensen, the mayor of Copenhagen, opened up City Hall, and he let the youth delegates take over City Hall, and for a day and a half, they inhabited City Hall and worked together to develop a set of principles, to develop a set of recommendations, to present to the mayors who all gathered at the summit. And one of the key priorities, one of the key recommendations that were made was to create and implement a climate curriculum across the world. So already you're answering the call. This is something that is globally recognized by young people as something that they want. And our youth council back in Los Angeles, one of their top priorities is climate education, putting together a guidebook of case studies, of success stories, best practices that they've all implemented in their schools, and bringing them out to the broader education community, doing presentations, help building out a climate curriculum. This is already something that they're all calling for. So I think we should all feel really good about the fact that this is something that is answering a true need, a true gap in our community. Because as Greta said in Madrid just a couple of days ago, when we learn, when we become aware, we change. People can change, and people are ready for change. And so I thank the CSUs, I thank UC for answering that call, for answering the call to action, the decade of action that we're all entering in together.